Thank you so much for joining us. This presentation is Bridging the Gap, Christian View on Early and Late Adopters. Adopters have 5 different categories: innovators, early adopters, early majority, late majority, and laggards. As you see here, we've given a brief definition to each. Innovators would be those who are identified as gatekeepers. They're about 2.5% of the adopters, and they generally bring new innovation from outside of the system to inside of the system. Early adopters, comparatively, are about 13.5% of adopters, and they generally hold leadership roles within society and often, play a key role in all stages of the innovation process. Next, early majority, about 34% of the adopters. As you notice, the percentage of adopters increase as time moves forward. These individuals are generally well respected and accepted within their social systems. Late majority, like the early majority adopters, but they're just on the backside of the majority, which is about 34% of the population as well. And they're characterized by those who will wait until the majority of the early adopters have confirmed their adoption of the innovation. And lastly, we have laggards. And laggards have about 16% of the adoption, and they're kind of traditional and have quite a bit of skepticism. We can categorize adopters into 2 categories, the first being early adopters, and in that category, innovators, early adopters, and early majority are all fitted underneath that heading. We'll begin with innovators, and we'll kind of talk about how innovators are in alignment with God as it relates to the way that He has engaged people in the Bible. And I'll go to Jonah chapter 3, verses 1 through 5, but I'm specifically interested in verse 2, where God says, go to the city of Nineveh and proclaim to it the message I gave you. And Jonah went right ahead and did that. And, it is moving without doubt, moving in faith. I look at the innovators as those people who have clarity and are able to have such clarity in engagement with God. They know what it is they're supposed to be doing, and they don't need affirmation from a lot of others. And early adopters are similarly this way. However, most of these people are generally leaders. Again, we'll reference, Jonah chapter 3, between verses 5 and 8, but I'm going to go to 5 specifically. When Jonah's warning reached the king, he rose from his throne and took off his robes, and he covered himself with sackcloth and dust. And surely in this, he fits in direct alignment with early adopters. And then with the early majority, these are groups of adopters that the Nevian people were ready to align as persuaded by the king's decision, I'm sure, and their understanding of the Lord our God. As we move through with the late adopters, the late majority, and the laggards, one of the things that Dale 2021 states on page 54 is that these people, if they would move faster, could really increase resilience and agility. It's unfortunate, but they are like some people as it relates to kind of moving in God's will and ensuring that they are living daily And John chapter 6, verse 44 states, "No one can come to me unless the Father who sent me draws them, and I will rise them up at the last day." And this is found very interesting. Some people, and I guess there was a time in my life where I wasn't as close to God as I am now. But what gives me faith is that God, I will rise them up at the last day. And God is telling us that we should continue to be in faith, have good faith, and walk in His wisdom, because even up to the last day, those who may not have been walking alongside us as we walk alongside Jesus still have an opportunity, to be blessed with His grace. In terms of just leading with Christ, I find it extremely important. It's anchored in the recognition of my role as a Christian, particularly as an educator. It is important to me that not only do I remember that we're made in His image, but He expects us to engage with that in mind. I try to ensure that my students see His grace in the way that I engage with them, His care and mercy. And, as a result of modeling Christ, it allows us to really impact others because of the way that we have aligned ourselves with God and in God's divine system. Walking in this way and engaging in this way, whether professionally or personally, really keeps the consistency of behavior that I feel that is necessary for us to abide, in His will. I want to thank each of you for coming today. Here are the references. I was able to provide this information based upon some of the information that I received from these peer-reviewed articles. Again, I thank you, and I hope you have a great day.